everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim. As you can definitely hear from my voice, I am not feeling the greatest. I haven't been for probably about 2 weeks now, going on 3, something like that. I will try to edit out as much of this coughing as I can. Filming with pneumonia is going to be a challenge. Today is the first day that I've felt like actually getting in front of the camera. I don't sound great, but I'm feeling a little better except for this nagging cough and the strangeness of my voice. But in today's video, I wanted to give you my March wrap-up of what books I did manage to actually read this month. It's been a struggle, especially since we're now doing the homeschool. I don't have kids of my own, thankfully, but I do have, of course, my pets, Jester, and then my 2 cats, Romeo and Nix. They keep me plenty of busy and are very curious as to why I've been home. But I've always managed to keep my work life at work and then my home life home. But now that we're combining the two, it has definitely been a challenge. So, pneumonia, 102 temperatures for about a week. Still have around 90, 8.9 and 99 ongoing. I am on antibiotics. And all of that. So I'm taking care of me. I hope you guys are taking care of each other and are staying safe and staying healthy, which is weird. I have followed the guidelines. I've only gone out for essentials, and ta-da! My immune system is apparently incredibly weak, and I get pneumonia in the middle of March, middle to end of March. Anyways, again, like I said, this video, enough of all of that. This video is supposed to be about the books that I've managed to actually read in the month of March. So I have all of my books listed in my planner, and the ones that I don't have a picture of, a physical copy of, I'll put a picture up on the screen for you guys. Alright, so let's get those knocked out of the way. The first book that I don't have a physical copy of, it is Wolf Rain, and I'll put it up here. This is the continuation of the Trinity series by Nalini Singh. I really did enjoy this book, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I definitely do want to continue on with finishing out this series. It will be an ongoing series. I don't know how many books are going to eventually be in this Side Changeling Trinity offshoot series. So even though I will technically finish it by the end of the year, if the series continues into the following year, then I will continue on. But if there's no more books to be published in this year, then I'll count the series complete, and then just know I will then continue it the next year. Because you can only read what books are actually available. Alright, the second book that I did manage to read is Heaven and Earth. This is the second book in the, what is that series? It's a trilogy by Nora Roberts. I read the first one previous month. This is the second one in that trilogy as well. I'll put the name across the screen as it is not coming to mind at the moment. Anyways, so again, it continues on with the 3 descendants from the 3 witches who created the island, and it follows Ripley and Mac. It's a really great series. If you haven't read it, I definitely would recommend it if you are into romance with witch or magic in it. It's a great blend of that. So I would highly recommend Nora Roberts if you're looking for that combination. Alright, now on to the physical books that I actually did manage to get read. So the first one, this is by David Moody. It's One of Us Will Be Dead by Morning. This is an offshoot of his Hater series. It was a pretty good book overall. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Some things were very predictable about the book, and one of the characters, I don't understand why she ended up having to die. I think they could have done, or at least got rid of the not so great guy. His ending, the not so great guy ending, was awesome. I kind of felt a little sorry for him, but I really didn't, based off of what happened earlier. But these are a group of people out on an island. They are a work group that was out there on a kind of a working holiday with this kind of a bonding experience. and things start going wrong. They thought it was just their area, but it's actually worldwide. Never really said if it was viral or what really went on, what causes people to start hating one another and doing atrocious things to one another. It was really bizarre, so that was never really answered. But overall, a pretty decent book. It wasn't too abundantly gory or graphic. I would recommend if you're into kind of an outbreak scenario going into apocalyptic times, you might enjoy this. I might have appreciated it more had I read the Hater series first, but again, this book came in one of my boxes, so that's kind of the risk you have. But on its own, at least at the start of a new segment of that series, it was worth the read. Definitely would recommend it if you are into graphic, or not super graphic, but kind of scary horror books. Alright, so that was my third book I've read. Alright, this book I read for my Romance-opoly. This was actually repick because one of the other books, I think it was the Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies book, I did not enjoy, which was the library pick for the Romance-opoly. So again, this was for the library pick, which was basically you could choose any book to read. I didn't care for the Jane Austen remix book, so I chose this one. So again, if you're wanting a historical fiction with kind of concentration in the Native American history, then you would probably enjoy this. It's more realistic than some of the others I have read over the years. Very heart-wrenching. 5 out of 5 definitely starts with this. I would definitely recommend it. It's Silk and Savage by Catherine Hart. I won't go into all of the details, but it is so well written. Oh, I just love this book. I've forgotten how much I loved it until I did a reread on it. It's fantastic. I can't recommend this book enough. Alright, moving on. The next book, this was kind of probably my lowest ranking book in a while. This is Jonathan Mayberry. This is the start of the Pine Deep novel series. It's called Ghost Road Blues by, again, Jonathan Mayberry. I loved his Rotten Ruin series. I had high hopes for this series. It is definitely 100% an adult book. I would not recommend it for anyone under the age of 18 unless you have your parents' permission. There are so many things wrong with this book, so many repetitive things with this book. It really wasn't creature type things going on with it, really, as the cover would kind of make you think it would. And several times it seemed like the book was restarting itself, as if you're starting the story for the first time. So there are, to me, a lot of more technical things with this book. It was a cross between people, everyday people doing bad things, people who might have mental disabilities going on, like schizophrenia type of things. And then you had a kind of this mix in of the paranormal, of this thing that's under the swamp. We don't know if it's the devil or some other evil entity that is leaking its malevolent feelings and thoughts into these people. So we don't know if the entity is the one that's causing these people to have done these horrible, horrible things, or if they were going to do these things anyways because their wires in the brain were not wired correctly. So it was very confusing how people got around and did things without the cops around, who are there watching people over people to protect them, and all of a sudden one of the people who were doing these bad things ends up in the room with them. It was so in a lot of ways very far-fetched. Yes, it is fiction, I understand that, but some like laws of nature still kind of have to go on with it. Yes, I know there's a little bit of paranormal, but you still got the laws of nature. So I was very confused. It was a difficult read for me. I struggled. I've debated about DNFing it. There are a lot of trigger warnings in this book: spousal abuse, child abuse, drug addictions. There are some racial At the very beginning, a lot of racial things went on, which started the whole thing. It's very interesting and very involved. Again, I don't think I could recommend it to anybody. If it sounds like something you want to read, go for it. For me, I was disappointed in it because I had read much better work from him than this book. So if I'd ever picked this book up before the others, I probably would not have picked up more from him. Anyways, that's kind of my thoughts on this particular book. Kind of very much disappointed in that book. Alright. Then we are going to finish this off with two books I absolutely did love. I did not think I was going to get 2 tomes finished. But these books are so easy to read. For me, if you have a reading disability, dyslexia, things like that, you would probably definitely have more challenges reading it. There are, I would say, fewer pages done where you're having to flip the book and having to read weird things on it. There are a few in there, but for the most part it's just normal text, as well as mainly email files, setups. So the first tome I read was the second book of the Lumine files. This is Jimena. This follows Nick and, what was her name? Hannah Denali and Nick Malikov, I believe is how you say his last name. Malikova. She is the daughter of the space station commander, and Nick is a member by blood family of the House of Knives, which is a drug dealing, thuggish type of family. And they're tasked with saving their station at the wormhole station from being overrun and obliterated. So they are tasked with doing all of that. It was kind of a strange beginning reading it, because I was like, I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy where they were going with it, but I'm not going to spoil it, but it ended up being completely different than I thought it was, especially with the character of Nick. He became very endearing as the book went on. And you're also introduced to Nick's cousin Ella. She is in a wheelchair. She has a lot of health issues due to a plague or something that happened to her as a child. She survived that, but she's wheelchair bound. She has to have oxygen, but she is a brain whiz when it comes to computer stuff. So all of that takes place in this book. I highly recommend it. Again, there are a few pages that are a little bit more challenging to read, but not as many as in the first book. Even though I think that's neat, I can see how it would definitely be challenging for those with reading disabilities, dyslexia, and other things like that. But otherwise, if you could get through those few pages, it is definitely worth a read, because like I said, most of it is in chat rooms. Well, that's kind of a darker page. Set up, you know, like emails, and mostly like that. And chat room in this one is kind of a grayer page, it's a little bit harder to read. Chat room style things. There are some with her, it's with Hannah, she does a lot of artwork. So things like that. There are a few, like I said, that will wrap around the page in different swirly patterns. But overall, if you can get through those few pages, it's still worth the read. So I would recommend it 5 out of 5 stars for the second book. And then, of course, I finished out the trilogy with Obsidia. Again, all of these books are by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Apparently I did not tell you that the last book. This one, you are back on, or you're heading back towards Carenza 4 after the station and all of that went on at Hemdall, I think is how you say it, wormhole station there. This time you are following pretty much everyone. You have Katie, Ezra, Hannah, Nick, and then you with Ella as well. And you are also now with Katie's cousin, Aisha, and her previous ex-boyfriend, Reese, something like that. It's R-H-Y-S, Reese maybe. on the planet. Reese is part of the Baytech enforcers there who are taking over the colony, has liquidated, as they've said, majority of the colonists except for those who are doing the mining, and it's like the essential people. If you are non-essential, you got liquidated immediately. Okay. So you're there, you're following, you know, the group, the survivors on this spaceship coming back, because they no longer have the wormhole. A little bit spoiler there, to get back. So they're going back because there is Magellan, who's is a ship that can do a space jump. So they're going back there to try to liberate that from Baytech, and also if there are any survivors on the planet of Corinza 4, and take them back as well. So you're following them and everything that they do and experience. There are a lot of highs, a lot of lows. You can't believe that just happened. What do you mean they're about to do that? It's a lot of drama, a lot of teenage stuff going on, and they are masterfuls at making you think something has happened when in actuality it doesn't happen that way. So they are very well at doing that, because you are like heart-wrenching that they cannot do that, she cannot do that. And yeah, and then you find the twist later. So definitely worth, again, it's similar, you know, setup. You have your dialogue set up in chat room styles, you have normal style text as well as texting and those types of things as well. So yes, so finding out, does Baytech go down? Are these teenagers able to do the master plan, which is the Illuminati files, to shed light to the whole universe about what Baytech has done with the bioweaponry, with killing off all these people, because they are illegally mining there. So it's definitely worth a read. I don't want to spoil it, but I will leave you with that question, whether or not they actually do their goal of bringing down Baytech. So definitely a 5-star read for the Obsidio as well. So all in all, I managed to read 7 books this month. Definitely not as many as the previous 2 months. Definitely have been more in a reading slump. It's this stressful time of year. Pneumonia has helped that, and then having to now do school from home, getting work from students and all of that has definitely impacted this as well. So all in all, I still think 7 books is awesome. I did manage to read these last 2 last week or so when I had felt up to reading. But like I said, even though these last 2 books are over 600 pages each, when you start reading them, they go really, really, really fast. That is the only reason I was able to read that much, that quickly. Outside of them being extremely great books to read. So 7 books, not too bad. I had 1 2-star ranked book this month, 1 4-star, and the rest were 5-star reads. So not too shabby. If you enjoyed this video, leave me some comments down below. Which are your favorite books that I showed you? Which ones are you the most interested in picking up and reading? And until my next video, I hope you have a good one. Bye!